Namaskar. In today's session, we are going to discuss about the scripting or script writing from science labs for radio broadcasting. Science labs are the birthplace of new ideas, discoveries, and innovations. In India, premier institutions like CSIR, ICAR, ICMR, DBT, DST, DRDO, and ISRO have been contributing to nation building through scientific research. But for the common public, the world of laboratories often seems closed and inaccessible. Radio becomes a powerful bridge to bring lab science to listeners' lives in a simple, engaging, and trustworthy manner. Thus, scripting from science labs means converting scientific discoveries, technologies, and experiments into listener friendly radio programs that inform, educate, and inspire. Why science labs are important source for radio scripts? It is for authenticity. Labs generate credible, peer-reviewed research in the form of published work, published research papers, patents, copyrights, and so on. Relevance. Many interventions directly affect daily lives like medicine, farming, and technology. Inspiration. Lab stories reveal the human side of science, struggles, failures, and breakthroughs. Policy impact. Research outcomes influence health, agriculture, space, and defense policies. Radio broadcasting from lab discoveries can therefore nurture scientific temper and bring science closer to society. Discoveries and new inventions from Indian science labs which may be suitable for radio broadcasting, like CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, development of COVID-19 diagnostic kit, and aroma mission like floriculture, lavender farming in Jammu Kashmir, leather processing and herbal drugs research, innovations in air purification technologies, and so on. Many researches umbrella are there, and one can search and collect a lot of information from CSIR for radio script, like Indian Council of Agricultural Research, ICAR. They are producing high yielding and climate resilient crop varieties, drought tolerant rice, wheat, improved breeds of poultry and livestock, farm mechanization tools for small farmers, and biological pest control technologies. So ICR working tremendous in agriculture field, and including our medical research, Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR, development of the first indigenous COVID-19 vaccine, co-vaccine with Bharat Biotech, research on TB, malaria, dengue diagnostics, studies on lifestyle disease and public health surveys. और अभी जो हमारे प्रधानमंत्री ने हमें संदेश दिया है कि हमें अपने खाने के तेल में 10% की कटौती करनी है और अपना मोटापा कम करना है. Lot of subjects, sub themes, and interesting ideas about the science radio science programs from lab through ICMR. And DBT, Department of Biotechnology, genome sequencing of Indian population and crops, biotech-based vaccines and therapies, and bioreactors and biofuel technologies. Lot of things are in DBT and DST, Department of Science and Technology, National Mission on Quantum Technologies, promotion of clean energy research, solar, hydrogen, nanotechnology, and advanced material research. So, new discoveries, new findings, new innovations. Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, Agni, Prithvi, Akash missiles, and other strategic defense technologies they are doing, in light combat aircraft, Tejas components, indigenous ventilators, and PPE kits during COVID-19, food technologies for armed forces in extreme conditions. So DRDO has, bouquet of new development and achievement which can be showcased, highlighted in your radio scripts from directly from lab, from the scientists. And ISRO, no doubt, our recent Axiom 4 mission with the successful mission with our Shobhanshu Shukla, our Gagan Yatri, and Mars orbiter mission, Mangalyaan, Chandrayaan 3, lunar landing, Gaganyaan, preparations for human space flight, applications in weather forecasting, disaster management, and communication satellites. So many things are there in ISRO waiting for radio broadcasting. Radio science is scripting from labs. Simplicity of language is the first and utmost important. Avoid technical jargons. Replace complex words with simple conversational phrases like genomic sequencing, studying the blueprint of life. Storytelling approach. Frame lab discoveries as stories, problem, experiment, breakthrough, impact on people's life. So you have to adopt storytelling approach. Human angle. Highlight scientist efforts, challenges, failures, and persistence. Share anecdotes of how an idea was born in the lab, right? Everyday relevance. Always answer why should a listener care? For example, new seed variety, higher yield, cheaper food prices for families. Everyone need better thing for their life and so on. So sound design, use sound effect. Lab sound is there, space launch countdown, farm sound. Add interviews with scientists or farmers using the innovation. Brevity and clarity. Short, clear sentence, listeners can't revent radio, right? Structure, and structure must be based on hook, explanation, example, and takeaway. So, this route is very clear. You must start your script or your program from a hook. Then you have to explain the subject with example and take away, take home messages. Now we are going to talk about the most important aspect about the principles of script writing from labs for radio science programs. And what is principle 1? Write for the ear, not for the eye. This is the golden rule of the all radio writing. What looks good on paper often sounds clunky or unnatural when read aloud. Be conversational. Imagine you are explaining a scientific concept to a curious friend over coffee. Use a friendly conversational tone. Avoid overly formal or academic language. For example, instead of the study investigated the impact of anthropogenic activities on biodiversity, scientists looked at how human actions are affecting the number of different plants and animals in an area. Use simple sentence structure. Stick to short, punchy sentences. Long, complex sentences with multiple clauses are difficult for listener to process in real time. Break down complex ideas into a series of simple sentences. Repeat and rephrase. The listener has only one chance to hear what you are saying. You can't revent. Therefore, it's crucial to reinforce key messages at one go. Rephrase important points in different ways to ensure they stick. For example, after explaining a complex idea, you might say, so what this really means it? Or in simple terms, the study found that. So, write for the announcer. Please remember, your script must be narrated by the announcer, by the radio presenter. So, read your script aloud as you write it. This helps you identify tongue twister, awkward phrases, and pacing issues. If you stumble over a sentence, so will your announcer. Don't be afraid to rewrite it until it flows naturally. Principle 2. Demystify, don't dumb down. The goal is to make science accessible, not to patronize your audience. You can explain complex ideas without sacrificing accuracy. Break down jargons. Scientific fields are full of specialized terms, technical terms. Your job is to be translator. When you use a technical term, immediately follow it with a simple explanation or a relatable analogy. For example, the new telescope will use adaptive optics, a technology that corrects distortions caused by Earth's atmosphere, giving us crystal clear images. So, in this sentence, you are explaining what new telescope is going to tell about the crystal clear images of Earth atmosphere, right? So, you have to explain everything in simple, lucid manner. Use analogies and metaphor. This is your most powerful tool. Compare an abstract concept to something familiar. A virus can be a tiny parasite that hijacks your cells. The human brain's natural network can be like a bustling city's traffic grid. Analogies create an instant mental picture and make the complex understandable. Focus on the so what. A great science story is not just about the facts, it's about the implication. Why should the listener care? Explain how a new discovery impacts their health, the environment, technology, or their understanding of the universe. Cannot connect the big picture science to their everyday lives. So, principle 3, embrace the power of sound. Radio is an auditory medium. Use it to its full potential. Use sound effects, SFX. SFX can transport your listener to the scene. The bubbling of a breaker, the roar of a rocket launch, the chirping of crickets in a field, or the hum of supercomputer can all make your script more vivid and engaging. Don't just describe a scene, let the listener hear it. Your script should include cues like sound of bubbling breaker or sound of rain and thunder. So, allow your listener to feel the effect you are going to speak or you are going to realize. So, incorporate music and ambience. Music sets the mood. A suspenseful track can accompany a story about a scientific mystery. Upliftment music can highlight a moment of triumph. Ambient sounds like the quiet murmur of a library or the chatter in a lab can make the scene feel real. Leverage silence. Don't be afraid of a moment of silence. It can be used for dramatic effect, to let an important point sink in, or to make a transition. A well placed pause can be more powerful than a rush of words. Now we are going to discuss principle 4. Structure your script for maximum impact. A good script, like a good story, has a clear beginning, middle, and end. They hook the beginning, they grab the listener's attention in the first 10-15 seconds. Start with a fascinating fact, a compelling question, a dramatic sound effect, or a surprising statement. For example, what if I told you the answer to our climate crisis might be a tiny single celled organism? The narrator, the middle. This is where you develop your story, present the problem, introduce the scientist, describe the research process, and build towards the discovery. Use a narrative arc. Who are the heroes of your story? What challenges did they face, and what was the aha or wow moment? The conclusion, summarize the key findings, the reiterate the so what, and end on a powerful or thought provoking note. You might leave the listener with a final question or a call of action. Principle 6, master the interview script. Interview are the state of science radio. Your script for an interview is more of a guide than a verbatim text. Do your homework, thoroughly research the scientist and their work. This is non negotiable. It helps you ask informed questions and shows respect for their time. Craft open ended questions. Avoid questions that can be answered with a simple yes or no. Instead of, did the experiment work? Ask, can you walk us through the moment you realize the experiment was successful, right? So, focus on the human element. Science is done by people. Ask about their motivations, their struggles, their moment of frustration, and their moment of joy. This makes the interview relatable and humanizes the scientist. Listen actively. The best interview scripts are flexible. If the scientist says something unexpected and interesting, be prepared to deviate from your prepared questions and follow their lead, right? So, be careful when you are interviewing the scientist, listen carefully what they are saying, and you can check any central idea, change in your central theme as per the scientific conversation. So, principle 6, think visually, write orally. Although radio is a sound based, the best script are those that create a strong visual image in the listener's mind. Use descriptive language instead of saying the lab was big. Say the lab stretched out like a cavernous waterhouse filled with the hum of machines and the faint smell of the chemicals. Use adjective and sensory details of paint a picture with words. Set the scene. Whether you are in a rainforest, a high tech laboratory, or a dusty archaeological dig site, your script should establish the setting. Describe the sound and the atmosphere and the action. By mastering these principles, you can transform a dry scientific topic into compelling and memorable radio experience. The key is to remember that you are a storyteller first and a science communicator second. Your job is to spark curiosity and wonder and to make the listener feel like they are part of the journey of discovery. By following this principle, you can transform a dry scientific topic into a compelling and memorable radio experience. The key is to remember that you are a storyteller first and a science communicator second. Your job is to spark curiosity and wonder and to make the listener feel like they are a part of journey of discovery. So now we are discussing about the interview aspect of scientists, very important. Interviewing scientists for radio broadcast. So, background research. You have to check the profile of the scientist, read some research papers, understanding the scientist's area of expertise, current research, and its societal relevance. Identify simplified explanation of complex concept. Framing the purpose. Define whether the interview is to explain new discoveries, highlight applications, or share the scientist's journey. Keep the audience profile in mind. Non-specialist general listeners your audience are. Question planning. Prepare open-ended questions that encourage storytelling, like what inspired this research or how will this impact everyday life. Avoid jargon-heavy prompts, focus on curiosity-driven themes. Conducting the interview. Tones and style. Maintain an informal conversational tone to put the scientist at ease. Encourage anecdotes and analogies. Ask the real world comparisons, clarity, and relevance. Seek simplified explanation of technical processes. Highlight societal benefit or practical applications. Sound elements are very, very crucial. Capture natural lab sounds, machine running, field work as atmosphere for the program. Record crisp, clear answers with minimal background noise. Translating lab content into radio script is another challenging but interesting task. Simplifying science. Strip down technical language, translate questions, result into everyday examples, break content into short, clear modules, 2-3 minutes of explanation per idea, narrative building, use storytelling structure, problem, research, discovery, impact, include the scientist's personal perspective for human interest. Engagement techniques, add humor, rhetoric questions, or thought experiment to involve listeners. Use metaphors, familiar to the target audience like farming, cooking, sports. Script writing essentials for radio. Write for the ear, not for the eye. Short sentence, conversational style. Be careful, you are writing a script for ear. Radio or audio is the medium for ear. Maintain flow and pacing, alternate between scientist soundbite and narrator explanations. Integrate sound design, lab sounds, transitions, music beds, or for emphasis. Length, keep the segment crisp. 10-15 minutes for a feature, 3-5 minutes for a news capsule. So, ethical and practical considerations. Ensure accuracy. Validate scientific information with the researcher, because accuracy is the utmost, because you are transmitting, you are broadcasting the information from lab. Many times, if you are interviewing a scientist and you are just translating their technical jargons into simple language, lot of chances are there for mistakes. So, you have to send your script to the scientist for vetting, for verification, to check accuracy, then proceed. Respect intellectual property and confidentiality. Clarity, what can be aired. So, whatever scientist has done, it is his or her intellectual property rights. So, be careful, because this may be under patent, it may be published work, but scientist may, it is her choice what he or she want to share on media or not. So, acknowledge the scientist and institution properly in the program, because your source, your content are based on that institute. So, please acknowledge it carefully. So, this is the thing about when you are going to lab to interview the scientist. So, how to interact scientists, how to interact with their research papers, with their ongoing research, because in any lab, lot of scientists are working in various aspects of botany, it may be zoology, it may be chemistry, it may be physics, it may be rocket science. So, you have to be carefully design your questionnaire, and you have to be careful while asking about the societal impact, because scientists, when they are doing research, they keep in mind about the publications, about the impact factors, but it is not your mandate. Your mandate is your public, your society. You have to connect the science, the published papers, the findings to the society. So, keep these things in mind, and best wishes for your radio programs from lab. Namaskar.